At first, I didn't notice him. He blended in, average height, forgettable face, eyes that never quite focused on anyone, the kind of inmate who slips under the radar. No complaints, no fights, no noise, but he whispered. We thought he was praying. Some inmates do that, hiding under a blanket, muttering to themselves. But he wasn't hiding. He sat right in front of the vent, every night, and whispered into it. I was on night duty the first time I heard him. Soft voice, barely audible, as if afraid to wake someone. I know you can hear me. I won't betray you, I promise. It wasn't the words that got me. It was how calm he sounded. Too calm, like it was real. I stood behind the door, frozen. He didn't know I was there. He wasn't performing. He was sincere. Each night, the same thing. Always the vent. I left it for you. You know where. Don't be scared. I understand. They don't. If they listen, stay quiet. I'll cover for you. By day 5, I walked into his cell during lights out. Wanted to catch him in the act. He didn't flinch, didn't even look at me. He just said, softly, he only listens to me. He won't touch you. I was ready to write it off. Stress, isolation, coping mechanism, seen it before. But when I checked the vent, I saw something that's been bothering me ever since. A matchstick, freshly wedged, and a folded scrap of paper. It read, "Thank you." After that folded note, that quiet "thank you," I couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't alone. The note was too clean, too deliberate, folded like something meant to be hidden, not discarded. And the ink, it wasn't pencil, it wasn't standard issue, it was ink. And inmates don't get pens with ink, not in that block. I checked the vent again. Looked like nothing. Just a shaft leading up toward the main exhaust system. But the strange part? That vent wasn't connected to any other cell, not directly. According to the plans, it was isolated, completely, sealed even, with a noise dampener installed. But paper doesn't lie. He kept talking, not every night, selectively, like he was waiting for a reply. Some nights he'd just sit there, still, staring at the vent, and then, suddenly, he'd whisper, "I heard footsteps. Not mine, not yours. You heard them too, right?" One night I decided to wait. It was my shift. I stayed past lights out, barefoot, standing just out of sight. He crouched by the vent, whispered, "I'll close my eyes. You can come out. Just for a minute. I won't tell." Then silence. 10 minutes passed. He didn't move. Eyes shut, barely breathing. Then, suddenly, he stood up, calm, like it went the way he wanted. Next morning, I checked on him. He was asleep, but on the pillow, another note. No words, just a fingerprint. Clear, perfect. Not his. I didn't report it. I took the note, kept it. Still don't know why. Then I started noticing something else. After each whisper, new markings appeared on his wall. He didn't draw them openly. He crushed bread, lightly toasted it on the radiator, used it like pigment. Subtle, faint, eyes, drawn eyes, open, round, all facing the vent. Sometimes the truth doesn't sit inside a man. It hides in his shadow. I started digging through Soman's case file, not because protocol told me to, because I needed to. He stopped being just another inmate. He became a question, and every whisper of his felt like a piece of the answer. He was serving time for something odd, not murder, technically. Excess of necessary self-defense, the charge said. 3 drunk guys broke into his home. 1 didn't make it out. He claimed defense. Witnesses disagreed. He got 6 years. But here's the thing. No fingerprints. No signs of struggle. No DNA traces from the intruders. Only his. Almost like he'd cleaned everything. Or maybe No one else was ever there. No psych evaluations, clean file. But something about him felt fractured. He didn't speak often, but when he did, it was measured, almost rehearsed, like he had to make space for someone else to reply. One night, I broke the silence. "Who do you think's in the vent?" He didn't flinch, just looked up and said, "Someone was here before me." He heard it too. I found his note. Where? Under the bed, inside the frame, scratched in. He didn't leave. He just went quiet. I checked, and there it was, scratched deep into the metal frame, invisible unless you knew where to look. Old marks, faded, done with a fork. That's when I started really asking around. Former inmates. Found an old-timer. Did time here in the 90s. When I mentioned the vent, he went silent. Then he asked, "Cell 266? I nodded. "Yeah, that one. One of ours." He whispered too, quiet as dust. "And?" He got moved. But for years after, everyone in that cell cracked. One guy even burst his own eardrums, said it hums at night. He never said what it was, just hung up. That night, Soman whispered again. I listened through a recorder this time, from another post, and I heard this. "I'm not afraid of you. I just don't want you to be alone. I heard you crying. They didn't, but I did." After that old ex-con spoke to me, the one who'd served time here back in the 90s, I didn't exactly believe him. I'm not that guy. I've seen too much. But something in the way he didn't finish his sentences, the way he refused to name what he meant, it stuck to me. Like dust, not obvious. But when you breathe, it's in your lungs. After that, everything about cell 216 started to feel different, even when I wasn't near it. The dreams came first. Not nightmares. Just sterile, quiet scenes. Me sitting on the little wooden stool in 216, alone, facing the vent. No words, no movement. Just silence so dense it felt like it had weight. In the dream, it always felt like something was shifting, like there was less of me and more of something else. And when I woke up, I realized I had started waiting for the whisper again, waiting for a second, "Thank you," waiting to hear anything. And when nothing came, that was worse. I needed to know. Couldn't go through official channels. This wasn't something I could explain. So I filed a routine request. Vent inspection, suspected airflow blockage, sanitation risk. Just red tape, the kind no one questions. 3 days later, they sent a technician. We removed the vent cover. Dust. As expected. Nothing strange. Until the tech fed a flexible camera deeper into the shaft. Roughly 2 meters in, tucked into a recess, the lens caught something. An old piece of twisted metal, wrapped in faded cloth insulation, and next to it, something small. At first, it looked like a washer or bolt, but when we pulled it out, we realized it was a pendant, homemade, wire looped into a circle. Inside it, a charred photograph. Almost entirely burned, but you could make out the background. A wall and a vent. That was all. No faces, no date, just the vent. The technician didn't say anything, just looked at me and handed it over. And I didn't log it, didn't tag it, didn't include it in the inspection report. I just put it in my pocket, not out of fear, but because I knew it didn't belong in any file. It wasn't evidence. It was residue. That night, Soman stopped whispering. No more vent. No more bread-rubbed markings on the wall. No more pacing. No more sitting with his eyes closed. He just lay on his bunk, or sat, staring straight ahead, still, like whatever link he had to that voice or that silence had been cut, like something had ended. I visited his cell, no cameras, no guards, just me and him. Sat down across from him, looked him in the eye, tried to sound casual. I found it, in the vent. He didn't look surprised, didn't even turn his head, just said, "He knew you would." "Who?" "The one before me." "You really think someone was in there?" "No, not someone." "Then what?" He turned, calm, focused. No fear in his voice. He wasn't a man, wasn't a shadow. He was the act of listening. That hit harder than I expected, so I asked, "Did you hear a voice?" "No, I heard silence that listened to me." I paused. "And now?" "Now he's gone." "Where?" He held my gaze, just for a moment, and said, "Into the ones who listen." The next morning, Solman filed for a transfer. No comments, no drama, just paperwork. He left, and I stayed. And after that, I started noticing new patterns. Nothing loud, nothing crazy, just behaviors. I didn't talk out loud, but sometimes I'd think in answers to nothing. During night rounds, I'd pause outside 216. Not because I meant to. My feet just stopped. Not out of fear, but because something was waiting. And that's when I understood. Solman wasn't whispering because he was losing it. He was whispering so that he wouldn't be the last. Now it's my turn. After Solman left, cell 266 went quiet. Not the kind of quiet you notice right away, the kind that hangs, like a room that used to hum and suddenly doesn't. They didn't reopen the cell for weeks. Ventilation issues, they said. Lock malfunction. No one really asked for clarification. No one wanted in. Even staff avoided it unless absolutely necessary, like a room where something had happened, even if no one could say what. I didn't go near it either, not because I was afraid, but because it felt resolved. Like the cell had finished saying whatever it had to say. But winter doesn't care about silence. Shifts changed, people got sick, others transferred. We lost one man completely, no word. Rumor was he just quit. And eventually, they handed me the keys. No warning, no words, just a silent expectation. My rounds that night were normal. 12 a.m., clear. 2 a.m., nothing unusual. 3:20 a.m., I passed 216, paused, like always, out of habit. And then I heard it. Not a whisper, not a word, just a slow, wet scrape, like a fingernail across metal. Once, deliberate. And I realized I didn't want to know what it was, didn't want to open the door, didn't want to check, because sometimes you don't fear the sound, you fear that it won't stop. I stepped back, and for the first time in years, I felt my own heartbeat. Not panic, just awareness. The next morning, I washed my face too long, not because I was tired, because I still felt watched. I sat in the control room, staring at the monitors, not watching anything, listening, not for noise, but for the absence of it. I didn't tell anyone, not because I was scared, because I couldn't explain it. What was I supposed to say? That the vent feels full? That silence can stare? Too easy. That's the danger. It's not some ghost. It's not a story. It's just a place that remembers. Weeks passed. They cleaned the cell, repainted, repaired, replaced the grate. Everything looked new, empty, untouched. But still, when I pass by, my eyes go to the vent. Not because I'm afraid, because I'm expecting. That's what silence really is. Expectation without delivery. It's when your ears are ready, but nothing comes. That's when I understood. He left, but I stayed. I don't whisper, not yet. But sometimes, during night shifts, I count the seconds between faucet drips. I listen, just to make sure I'm the only one listening. That's how it starts. Not with words, with awareness. It was him, then the voice, then the stare, and now Me. I won't transfer. I won't resign. I'll stay because someone has to listen.